Alright, what's up guys? So today is the video for June 27th, which is today, Friday. And you can see the Forex Factory up here. So we just want to be aware of red folder news events. And you can see that we had two this morning at 8:30. The Canadian GDP report, which really doesn't impact the Nasdaq at all. And then PCE, which is the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, came in a little hotter at 0.2 than instead of the forecasted 0.1. But this was all taking place pre-market, and I don't trade pre-market, so this wasn't a huge deal, just something to be aware of. So let's take a look at the charts now. All right, so what we have here is a chart of the Nasdaq, and this is the daily chart over the past couple of months. And so what you see is that we've had a huge run off of this low after the tariff day and the tariff announcement. And then we've pretty much just taken off for the past couple of months. And so if you followed my channel at all, you know that I've pretty much just been taking long trades on the Nasdaq, because why would I want to short this strong of a rally? And so that was really the high time frame bias for this morning, is just expecting this rally to continue and shorts to get bought up until they don't. And so if we go to the 4-hour chart, same visual, very strong uptrend. Hourly chart, same thing. And so we just expect this trend to keep going higher until it doesn't. And so if we get down to the hourly chart, you know that I like to mark out some support and resistance levels on the hourly, but there really weren't any here. There's nothing above. I'm not going to go back months. There's nothing over there. And there really wasn't anything on the buy side that I was looking at. And so it was pretty much clear skies to the upside off the open. And so if we drop down to the 1-minute chart to look at how price developed, let's use the bar replay tool. And so coming into the market to the morning, there are a couple of things that I noticed that made me want to get long. So number one is the high time frames. They're bullish, and that makes me interested in longs. But number two, we really sold off here at 8 o'clock. After 8 p.m., the Euro session was pretty bullish, Asia session was bullish, and then at 8 p.m. we sold off. And so with that in mind, when I look at the higher time frames and I say, okay, we just got a nice sell-off of 80 points, I'm expecting to retrace some of this move. Now, in addition to that, we came down into the European session, or the London session low. And these, honestly, I got these levels from ICT traders. But what I've noticed is, although I don't trade like ICT concepts or any of that stuff, these levels tend to give bounces, and they're usually good support and resistance areas, so I do use those in my analysis. Now, this is right before the market opened at 9:30, and so what I want is I want the high time frames and the low time frames to align. So right now, they aren't aligned. We're trading below VWAP, we're trading below these EMAs, and so I need the market to give me some kind of bullish momentum off the open. Now, the things that are telling me that the market could be bullish today are the high time frames, the fact that we got this pullback and I could expect some kind of retracement out of here, and bouncing off of the support level. You can see the buyers stepped in a little bit here, and I want to see them continue to step in. And so the first thing that I'm going to look for off the open is I'm going to look to see if we break recent highs. So this would be an area of interest for me to watch, and this would be an area of interest. So let's see what happened. So the market opens, and we start pushing higher. Oh, here's the open. Okay. So we just kind of get wiki price action, and then we finally get bullish. And so we kind of tap this high, but we don't really get any momentum through it. Now I'm starting to see the buyers take back control in some sort of sense. So when I align the fact that we're now breaking recent lower highs and the high time frames are bullish, that gives me some expectation that this could continue. Now again, I'm a scalper. I'm not going to trade this for 100 points. I really want 15 to 20 points max. And so when we see this kind of price action, we start consolidating down here at these lows at the support level with the high time frames bullish. Now I'm confident in looking for a long. And so let's see how these candles develop. Okay, so This could be taken as a bullish candle, but I didn't want to take that long. And the reason is because I don't like buying the high point of the move and selling the low point of the move. So what I want is I want these EMAs to overtake VWAP, trade a little bit higher, then pull back or consolidate to give me kind of a reset of momentum to push us higher. And so this you could have argued that that was a long, but I didn't want to take that. I wanted some kind of retracement. And so what I got was a nice selling candle. And so we had a long wick on this candle. And so what that tells you is price opened here, sold off all the way down to here, and then the buyers fought to hold this bullish momentum and push this candle back up. And so to me, that's a good entry. So what I did was I got long on the open of this next candle right here. Stop below this wick. You can see that the 8 EMA is now overtaking VWAP. And really what I want to see is I'm just going to go for a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio here. I'm just going to look for 20 points on this trade. And so let's, okay, whatever, it's close enough. So let's see how this played out. This trade actually took a while. Usually my trades last, anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes when they work out. And so this one took a lot longer than normal. But once I get my orders in and I put my stops and targets, I really just go do something else. Usually it doesn't take this long. This took, I don't know, like 10, 15 minutes almost, which is a longer trade for me. But you can see what I'm talking about, right? So now we retraced this move. And so at this point, the way that I trade is I want a systematic approach that's repeatable on a daily basis. And so to me, it's very reasonable to make 20 points on the Nasdaq on a daily basis. It's not as reasonable to say that, okay, every trade I take is going to run for 80 points. You know, obviously your risk to reward is a lot better, but your win rate's going to be much lower. And I trade these prop accounts. And so your win rate is one of the most important things when trading prop accounts because they have the drawdowns, they have tight, tight loss limits. So even if you're trading a 50K prop account, it's not 50K. You're really trading whatever your drawdown is. And on Apex, the drawdowns are 2,500. So, big swing momentum trades like this aren't really the best trading style for intraday trading prop accounts. I've really crafted this style and this strategy, um, you know, based off of a lot of things I've learned over time, but also to fit my lifestyle and my trading style needs. So, you know, if you were just a full-time day trader, could you have sat here and just rode this momentum up with this EMA and closed it when we started reversing? Sure, but I work a full-time job. I have obligations. I don't want to sit here for hours watching a move. I want to get in and get out within 10, 15 minutes and be done for the day. And so, if we just fast forward this, I think we started to reverse up here. Yeah. So like, yeah, you could have said, okay, well, when we break this low, we sell, and you would have, hindsight's 2020, right, guys? But so that's how the day worked out, and I was done with my trading around like 9:50 in the morning, 9:55. And so that's an ideal day for me. It was one and done, and I made, I think, a little bit over 20 points. So let's look at the trade performance on my PAs at this point. All right, so here's my trade of 8 with my 2 PA accounts. And so these are the ones that I've been trading for the past 2 weeks. And so here's my first one at $54,400 of profit, or $4,400 of profit. And so if we go to the performance for today, you can see I took one trade, made $480, and I was in it for 14 minutes. Usually if we look at like the custom date, if we look at some of my prior trading days, I was in here for 2 minutes on that day. Made 440 this day, was in there for 1 minute and 59 seconds. Monday, I had a trade 435 where I was in it for 52 seconds. That was my longest trade. So, 14 minutes feels like an eternity to me. But like I said, at that point, I just go do something else. And so if we look at the weekly performance, so this week, here you go, up 2,100 bucks, average trade time 3 minutes, And, I definitely had some losses here. I had a big loss earlier in the week and really messed up. But if you look at the P&L chart, these swings are just too volatile. I definitely had some issues earlier this week, but you can see that all of my trades really happen within the same time. Um, and, I got to iron out some things. This was just an issue on my end. Um, Definitely made a big mistake there, but um, made up for it, and, ended up profiting $2,100 per week per account. So if we look at the other account, it's the same deal, right? I take the same trades. It's just a copy trader that I use, and Tradeovate allows you to do that very easily. And so you can see that I started this account. I think my first trading day was Tuesday. Yeah, 440, and then no data for Monday. So I started this account. I passed it on Monday, opened it on Tuesday, and so now we're, I don't know, 4 or 5 trading sessions away from taking a payout on this account, and probably like 10 trading sessions away from taking a payout on this account. But all in all, the strategy is working well when I can stick within the confines and stick to the playbook. Just like anybody else, I have mental lapses and emotional issues sometimes with greed and fear when I'm trading. And, to me, that's um, the biggest thing that I need to work on, because once I can master that, I really feel like I'll have a very profitable, consistent strategy where I can come in and make 15 to 25 points every day on the Nasdaq, or most days, not every day. I'm going to have losing trades, but, I just have to keep them small. And right now, with a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio on my trades, anything over 50% is very profitable for me. And so this is, I believe, day 10 or 11. I'll check when I make the video, but thank you guys for sticking with me. Anybody who finds this interesting and would like to learn more about this, message me in the comments. I'd be happy to interact. But again, first and foremost, this channel is really just for me, to keep me accountable and to have something that I can, use as like a trade log, honestly. So I'm really just doing it for that purpose. And so this was day 9. Okay, so we're at $4,400 in 9 days. So that's really good, in my opinion. I'm happy with that, and we're just going to keep adding more accounts as we get payouts, and we're going to take it from there. So thank you guys for tuning in. Feel free to message me with any questions if you guys think this is interesting and want to chat about anything else in regards to financial markets. I'm happy to do that. But I'm not like some trading guru. I'm just here. I'm not here pushing a course or anything. If you've made it this far in the video, I'm sure maybe one person will even watch this, but it's really just for me. I don't really stand to gain anything from this except my own personal trade log and my own personal satisfaction. So I'm not here trying to sell you guys a Discord or anything like that. I just want to, just spread some knowledge in this industry where there's so many fake traders. But that's enough of my ramble for the day. I hope you guys had a good trading week, and I hope you guys have a good weekend. I will see you guys back on Monday for the next video. So thank you guys.